Well, having mostly older people in the band is kind of frightening. It's very foreign considering you, as a kid, you don't really spend much time with older people. With school and all that, and all the social groups and such. It's very different, but it's also not different at the same time, considering how much kids like to act like adults. And as for one being my dad, it's kind of a at least I have that going for me, considering if it were just all people that were older that I hardly knew, it would be I'd probably be very antisocial. I wouldn't know how to communicate with any of them. But considering one's my dad, it's kind of closes a nice gap between the groups, which is very helpful in any group, any band. Some of my musical influences, definitely all the great bass players like Geddy Lee and Geddy Lee and I'm kidding, but all the great bass players, the old smooth stuff like Yacht Rock, Steely Dan, Doobie Brothers, even the song Green Eyed Lady. I could say that entire song is an inspiration, influence, just all the old stuff where it's like everyone's busy and it still doesn't sound chaotic. It sounds laid back, even though everything's going 100 miles an hour and doing all sorts of crazy scales and chords. I always found that to be neat. And also Steven Wilson tends to be something, or a person that comes to mind whenever I think of influences. Kind of just the one-man band, the multi-instrumentalist, real all about the music type of guy, being able to connect with people from different generations, people from, the era that say, well, that doesn't sound like Led Zeppelin, so I guess it must be garbage. And, the people that say, well, really, I think it's cool. I just wish there were more lyrics. Like, it just didn't sound enough like Green Day to me, or whatever band. No bad thoughts to any of the bands. I mean, people that get overly attached to one band or one style or one mindset, it's difficult to, bridge the gap together. But again, bridging gaps, very, very difficult, but vital thing for a lot of things in life. And I think that, Steven Wilson or all my real influences are able to connect with people from all sorts of places, and I think that's a very important thing, is connecting people. Absolutely awful. It would surprise you how easy it is to go from, I know all this stuff, it's fine, I could play it in my sleep, to, well, now I'm being watched and it's going to be there forever. It's like, it's different from just playing or even playing in front of other people. When you play in front of other people, you get the assurance that, oh, they're not going to pay too much attention and they're just worried about the feel of it. But when it's on a recording, you start to think about it how you would think about it, or how you assume other people would think about it, which is like, I wonder how many times you messed up, let me look, or something like that, or this is going to be in the sands of time forever. So it's, it's very pressuring at first, but getting over it, it just takes doing it more, whether you do it into, like, for an album or just into a phone. Anything that gets you experience is really the way to go for that. Alright, Widetrack 3. It's about a journey concerning relationships and people. And how the relationships play out after, you know, the fun part, the honeymoon phase is over. Not necessarily the literal honeymoon phase of people getting married, but more of the metaphorical sense of once, you know, the excitement of just first meeting somebody and getting to know them and saying, wow, we have so much alike, or, you know, all that subsides. The real trouble of will they last, and will they be able to carry out being in a relationship, or was it just a spontaneous thing? So, like, people that we've known and have known of, we've put it into a universal thing for these types of relationships. And relationship doesn't have to be all lovey-dovey romantic either. It's a lot of it is up to interpretation, which, you know, as an artist, I think is the best way to go, is trying not to set anything too much in stone, because once you do, people's imaginations can be cut short. It's like, you know, reading a book before you see the movie and realizing all your ideas were actually wrong, or something like that. You just want to allow people to get the most out of your work, even if it's not what you intended at first, because they'd know better what they want out of something than you would, right? So everyone's different. But the core of it is about people and relationships, and the steep, steep road that comes after the initial excitement. My favorite Widetrack songs aren't necessarily the ones that have, at least as far as we could tell, been the most enjoyed by other people. Not to say that they're any lesser, of course, because my real point that I'm trying to make is music is very, very personal. Not only your own music, but the music that you listen to. If you were to create a playlist of your favorite songs of all time, starting from some of the songs that you can barely remember even hearing from when you were so young to now, nobody's playlist would be alike. The content, the order of each would all be different, because people are very, very different, and everybody has had a million different experiences than you, and that's very interesting to see when it comes out in their preferences and their own music. So, my favorite Widetrack songs are the ones that connect with me the most. I'd say option D, practicing. I'm kidding. Each has its ups and downs. Writing and recording are kind of similar, because you write something, and if you write it and you're proud enough of it and you say that needs to go further, you'll record it, and different stages of it will go on and on and on until the song develops and gels into a soon-to-be masterpiece, or whatever it'll gel into. Playing live can be anything from the stuff that you've written and recorded to the stuff that you've only written, to cover songs, to anything. Well, actually not really anything, just that, but playing live is a very different experience, especially with how I mentioned my first recording experience. Playing live is very spontaneous. If you say, we'll say you're playing a song, and you know the song well, and you say, I'm going to try some cool improvisational thing and see how that goes. It's not going to be big, but it's going to be something, spice it up a little bit. You know, you go for it, because when you're playing live, there's no real consequence other than don't break a feel. I mean, still play your part right, but keep a main feel. When recording and writing, you want to, well, no, you don't want to, but you end up putting yourself to standards, and you end up saying, but maybe that wasn't the right way to go, and it's got to fit the song and all that, and it's, you know, you end up filing through all your spontaneous moments until you find the things that are real gems. So it's back and forth. I think my favorite, though, as of right now, is playing live, mostly because it is the only way that I will practice some of the stuff that I'm gonna have to be playing. and it is very good practice just in general for just about everything. People skills, not being a I'm hiding behind my instrument type of person, even though there's nothing really wrong with that. Finding your style, being able to play in front of people, performing under pressure, all that stuff's very important. But writing, definitely the most valuable thing, because it's your own, and when something's your own, at least in that way, no one can take that from you, and that's a really just warm feeling. Yes. Oh, definitely yes. Perhaps my dad has discussed it before. Perhaps he will soon after this, or later after this. Really, it's all up to here, but we would like to expand a lot more from being just a band into being a sort of guide for younger bands and younger musicians to develop their own style, and of course that sounds a little broad, like how are you gonna do that, blah, what's that really mean? Well, for starters, after the experience that we've had with recording this album, it has been a series of ups and downs. The ups being, hey, we got the songs done, they're almost there, a couple of them are even there, but it's a very long process. When you're kind of bending to somebody else's schedule, it's very, very difficult to say, all right, this is how it's going to be done. Long-term plans are going to be this, 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 and this. We're going to have the album released by here, here, and all that. So it's, kind of a tricky thing. But, say we were to be able to record our own stuff and be able to at least mix and master a little bit. That would help out immensely. It would make writing a absolute dream. We'd be able to make a song way easier. Just not to get overly technical. It just would be a whole lot less of a hassle for us, but we thought, yeah, it's great and all, but there's something definitely more that we can do. So we thought a very good goal to have in mind would be a school, so to speak. School, studio, it's all kind of up to interpretation. It's a little ways in the future, definitely, but we'd like to do something that involves other younger musicians and finding for them what they really want to do, because a lot of problem in music, especially today, and a lot of people will say the same thing, is it's all the same. It's all bland. Everybody that plays music just wants to be like the next guy, and where's the originality? Where's the next big thing that isn't just the last guy? And I think that's not overly hard to fix. So my dad agrees with me. It's one of those things where you just have to convince people that doing your own thing is truly the most amazing thing that you'll ever do with music. I mean, yeah, it's up to personal opinion, but at least for us, we've found that to be so. If we can at all share the experience of being able to say, hey, I made this and I'm proud of it, then we would love to. So, as for future plans, we'd like to help other musicians and small bands improve and find their own style and provide for them whatever sort of tools they may need. Well, if you're a young musician, such as myself, and you have a passion for music, don't get discouraged by anything. It's the absolute key. The only reason that you should quit is because you can't go on, or it's what you really want to do. You just don't feel like doing it anymore. If somebody says, man, you really shouldn't sing, you're just not very good at it, I mean, you're fine on whatever else, but you shouldn't sing, then, don't listen to them. If you want to sing, then that doesn't matter. People comments about you, or people saying, oh, you're gonna have to find a real job or a real hobby. It's not important. The important thing is doing something that you enjoy, and something that you can look at yourself in the mirror and say, I really do feel this. As for something a little less deep and a little more, okay, yeah, of course, that's all common sense. There's plenty of small tips, like, you know, start off with the stuff that you like to see yourself play rather than just what's easy, because, you know, you'll get uninterested. Definitely try and find other people that play music, even though it is extremely, extremely difficult. All sorts of stuff like that. Can be helpful, I guess, but I suppose the main idea is do what your heart tells you. If you think, yes, playing music is what I truly love to do, and I see all these bands and I see all these musicians and I say, I want to be like them, but I don't want to sound like them. I want to play music and I want to do what they do for a living, but I want to be my own thing, and I want to see where whatever takes me, where this amazing journey of music takes me, then by all means, don't let anything in the world stop you other than you saying, you know what, I'm going to go be a doctor or something, whatever. Unless you feel that it's time to quit, then don't quit anything. Because the moment that you realize that everything in your life, just about, is up to you, the happier you'll probably be. You see, nothing's definite, but if music means as little as someone saying, that's not a real job, or that's not a real passion, or when are you gonna grow up, then I guess it is time. You know, you have to, of course, judge how much it means to you, but, you know, also stick with it, you know, have some grit. It's very important to stand your ground against stuff like that, because it'll always be coming. And another thing I should mention is that this goes for people of all ages, not just young musicians, but people of, you know, who have passed the phase of being able to say, oh, I'm just doing it for fun. You know, it's never too late to do something for fun. If you say, well, one day I'm going to go pick up a guitar and I'm going to play and learn and have fun with it, and however long I play, it'll be of whatever use it is to me, by all means go for it. Don't let anything like, oh, but I've got this and this and this stop you, because you'll never get to it unless you specifically go out of your way to get to it. So don't be discouraged, no matter who you are. If it's something you really like to do, that can't be what stops you in the long run, right? So, also, other tips, or my last tip, don't take yourself too seriously. It'll be the death of you